or a goat. Now, an asham needs to be a sheep or a ram, a sheep family. So, it's obviously not an asham because it's the wrong family of animals. This is a very obvious one. The haitzemer v'haiseyar, because this one, a sheep, has wool, and this one has hair. So the Gemara says, Amri, it's very possible that dichra uchmahu, that it's possible people will think that it's actually a ram. However, you just sheared all the hair, and it happens to be, goats are usually darker skin than the sheep, and they think that you just cut off all the hair of the ram, and so it looks like a goat. It's dark. It's a dark sheep, dark-skinned sheep. It looks like a goat. You can't tell. All right. I don't know. I'm not a farmer, but
No, it said here because the חוכמה, עיל שחור שגזזו צמרו וכמו שנראה שעיר. It's like after they cut, shear him, he looked like exactly like goat.
all right. Is that true?
What?
That a sheep without hair looks like a goat?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the sheep is look like fat, but when you shear it completely,
It looks skinny.
skinny.
Okay, very good. Yeshakayach. It's good you're here.
No, Peretz is not here. This Peretz place.
Egel upar. If there's a calf and a bull, this could be a type of chatas, parkain Mashiach, sheshachtel l'shem Pesach, shechted with intention for a Pesach, which is of course incorrect, and Pesach v'asham, and an asham, which those are supposed to be sheep. Lirtu, rams. It should be an appeasement. Why? The egel of Pesach b'par v'asham leka, because the animal is impossible. There's no such sacrifice. You don't bring the cow family.
So why is it Lursu?
Sorry?
So why is it Lursu then?
So therefore it's got to be a chatas. The chatas, that type of chatas. Even though the intention was that it should be a Pesach and Asham, so let's ignore the intention because it's impossible. That intention, just ignore it. It's impossible. The Maaseh Mechichen, actions should prove. The Gemara says, Enechanami. You got me there. It's impossible. So, but Reb Shimon did not say so. Reb Shimon said that a mincha that's brought with intention for the wrong mincha is an appeasement. It actually works. But sacrifices do not. And his logic was, because the action of the mincha proves, but the shechita of a sacrifice doesn't prove. Here we've just brought a case where it's possible by a sacrifice that it really, really will prove what it is against the thoughts. So we had this problem before, by the bird, by the oif. We disproved that it's only by a mincha. We proved that it's also applicable to an oif. We said, yeah, Reb Shimon says it doesn't apply to a zevach. We said a zevach means an animal, but by an oif it's possible. A chatas oif was clearly a chatas oif and not an oilas oif. But once we've emphasized that, now it's difficult to de-emphasize that and then say, oh, it's also applicable to a sacrifice, to an animal sacrifice, because he said zevach. So it says a mai zvachim. What does it mean when Shimon says that it doesn't apply to zvachim? It says roiv zvachim, majority of zvachim. We've just opened up to the. There is a possibility that there are exceptions there, that there are certain sacrifices that it will be applicable to as well.
Why does it matter what other people think?
Yeah. So that's what we said, that if it would be a rabbinic decree, let me go back and see what they say here in the note. explaining it here. I have to look in the back.
I guess because if it's about action and actions, you're showing what other people are. If it's intention, it's only between you and the Eibishter.
I don't know. I have to look in the commentary. Okay. We said that there were three answers to the contradiction of Reb Shimon. We just did the first one, which was Rabbah. Rabbah says that there's a difference if his intention is changing the mincha, which then it becomes very clear that it's not accurate. The action is not consistent with the thoughts, and therefore we just look at the action. Versus if he changes who the owner is, which that the action doesn't tell me anything about that, and therefore it would be invalid. So when Reb Shimon says that it doesn't satisfy the person's obligation, that's when he changed the thoughts of the owner, who the owner should be. The second answer the Gemara goes through is Rava's answer. Rava Amar like Kasha. The contradiction in Reb Shimon, where one place says that even if he had the wrong intentions, it's still valid and it satisfies his obligation. In one place it says that if he has the wrong intentions, it's valid, but it doesn't satisfy his obligation, which that's the way our Mishnah had it, is kan b'kaim it's mincha l'shem mincha, kan b'kaim it's mincha l'shem zevach. Depends what he changed to. If his intention was, he changed from one korban mincha to another korban mincha in his intention. He's doing this scooping up into the mincha, and he has thoughts that instead of a mincha in a flat pan, it's a mincha of fine flour, it's a mincha of a deep pan or something. But if he changes, he says, I'm doing this mincha for the sake of a chatas or something, or for the sake of an oila, so then that's invalid. Why? Mincha l'shem mincha. If he does a mincha for another mincha, zeis teres a mincha, teirachas l'chal menachos. We have a pasuk. The pasuk tells me that there's one mincha, one halacha of mincha for all minchas. It's not considered changing. All minchas are the same. And therefore, if he changes the thoughts are inconsistent, it's okay because it's in the general category of korban mincha. Seems like an easy answer. Mincha l'shem zevach, it says zeis teres a mincha, v'zevach leiksiv. It doesn't say these are the laws of the mincha and the sacrifices. So therefore you don't have one umbrella that the mincha and the sacrifices will fit under. And therefore, if the person has thoughts of a mincha for the sake of a slaughtered offering, the mincha is flour. He has intention for a sacrifice. It's not going to be valid because the verse doesn't say that. V'hatana, the Gemara asks, very good question. This is not what Reb Shimon's logic was. We read it. Reb Shimon says, he said, because its actions prove. Now you're telling me that there's one umbrella that covers all mincha. Reb Shimon said that his logic was because we view the action over the thought. That has nothing to do with this. We don't care it's not because of the action over the thought. The thoughts don't matter because it's all under the same umbrella. Okay, Hachi Kamar. The Gemara says like this: Af al gav de machshavet lei minkrehi v'tifsol. What it means to say is exactly the opposite. The fact it's asking it different. It's asking that not that that's not what Reb Shimon said. It's asking that Reb Shimon was saying that if its actions can prove that the thoughts are incorrect, are inconsistent, then you follow the action. The problem is if someone does kmitza for the sake of a sacrifice, an animal sacrifice, it's very obvious that it's not an animal sacrifice. Right? You look at it, it's flour. So how could you think that those thoughts have any validity? So it's got to be an acceptable sacrifice. What it means to say, the Gemara says, is that even let's take the other side. When I bring one mincha, and I have the thoughts, I do kamitza, and I have the thoughts of doing a different mincha, it's unclear, it's not very recognizable which mincha it is when I'm scooping in and taking out the flour. Even though, it means to say, even though it's not even though over there it's not so recognizable which mincha it is, and therefore tipasel, and therefore it should be invalid. Nevertheless, the pasuk comes in and tells me that since it goes under one umbrella, it should be it's still acceptable. The Gemara asks, so what does it mean? Avol bezvachim enekain, by sacrifices we don't say this. Now, we thought that meant that I don't change from one sacrifice to another. Gemara says, Afal gav the shchita achas lekulan, even though all sacrifices have the same shchita, right? If you would have one sacrifice slaughtered for the intention of another sacrifice, over there, I could have thought that it's not such a big deal because all sacrifices look the same at the shechita. It's one shechita for all of them. So it doesn't say that it goes all under one umbrella, and therefore one sacrifice that's slaughtered for a different sacrifice is going to be invalid. Okay, so. Okay. Elamayata. According to this, chatas chelev sheshachta l'shem chatas dam. Let's say I have a chatas that's being brought because the person ate chelev, forbidden fats. However, he's bringing it because for a different sin. He's bringing it. It's supposed to be brought for forbidden fats. He's bringing it because of eating blood. Or he's bringing it because he sinned with idolatry. Or if he's bringing it because he was a nazir, and that's finishing his nazirus. Or he's bringing it because he's a leper that's finishing his leprosy. Take sheir v'tirtze. It should be valid. Why? Because if you're going to say zois teiras, that pasuk that says zois teiras, that you create an umbrella for all offerings that go under this category, and it should be valid, like we did for the korban mincha. We have another pasuk that says, Adam Rachmana zois teiras achatas teirach z'chal chatois. It should go under the same umbrella. If we're going to take every phrase in the Torah that says this is the rule, these are the laws of mincha, and say that everything goes under one mincha, so let's do the same for the chatas. We have another pasuk that says zois teiras achatas. The Gemara says, Reb Shimon hachinami. You know what? You're right. According to Reb Shimon, it's so. And I think we're supposed to take out the Rabbanan. It says, Ha'amar Rava, and Rava said, Chatas chelev sheshach l'shem chatas dam, l'shem chatas avedis chavim, k'sheira, l'shem chatas nazar, l'shem chatas mitzeres pesula. The hani oilis ba'adayuninu. That it's true that by most chatais they would go under the same category. However, I have two chatais that it doesn't work for. That's for a nazir and for a mitzayra. And the reason is because these sin offerings, in the next room, it says classroom 1, These chatais also have oilas that go along with them. They also have burnt offerings that go with them. Rashi has several pshatim here what the issue is with this. but one of the interpretations is that these are not really sin offerings. These offerings are just conclusion of certain statuses that they're under. He was either a Nazir and now he's getting out of it, or he's a Mitzvah, he's getting out of it, but it's not a real sin offering. So if it's a real sin offering, that means he's bringing it because of he ate chalev, and he's bringing it because he ate dam. He has the wrong intention there because he ate blood. So that would go under one category according to Reb Shimon. So yes, we're accepting that. However, for the Nazir and Mitzvah, it doesn't work. Rav Acha Brei the Rava Masna L'Kul L'Psula. Rav Acha Brei the Rava says no. He says that it's going to be all invalid. Why? Because we have over here we have a special pasuk. It says it's you slaughter it for a chatas. It has to be for the exact, accurate chatas. For the chatas means sin that the person did, and only then is it going to be a valid sacrifice. I guess even though we have Torah sachatas that should be an umbrella, but we also have a rule lechatas that it needs to be very specific. Okay, we're up to Rav Ashi. We have to stop.